Yeah, hi, good morning. Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hi. Yeah, so we can start. Thank you. And also record. Thank you.
Yeah. So today we are going to discuss about polymorphism because inheritance and all those things, if you remember, we discussed all those things with examples. So these are the things we have already discussed. If you remember, in our last session, we discussed these things. So today we are going to discuss about polymorphism. So polymorphism means so which is a one of the Greek word. So poly means more than one form. Poly means more than, prism means format. So more than one format. So polymorphism is a concept by which one class or object can acquire the. So sorry, polymorphism is the process. Uh, One object can perform in different ways. So if you are looking at a one person, is acting as a like a son in a home, and so somewhere has husband, and in office he is working as a manager or a developer like that. So one person in different formats. So polymorphism is also same way. So that is achieved in two ways. One is static polymorphism, and second one is dynamic polymorphism. So polymorphism is one object acting as different formats at different situations. That is called as polymorphism. So more than one format. So that is achieved in Java by using static and dynamic polymorphism. So when it comes to static polymorphism, so this is method. So if you are, so in Java, how we are achieving that is by using static polymorphism or dynamic polymorphism. So if you are talking about static polymorphism, is also called as method overloading. And this is called method overriding. So this is a two ways of implementing polymorphism in Java. So polymorphism means which is one of the Greek word. So polymorphism. Poly means more than one. Morphism
Ravi,
means formats. Yeah.
so static polymorphism is method overloading and dynamic polymorphism is method overloading also.
Sorry, method overriding. Sorry. So method overriding. So in Java, we achieve the polymorphism two ways. So one is static polymorphism, and one is dynamic polymorphism. So static polymorphism means it's nothing but method overloading, and dynamic polymorphism means method overriding. So the name itself says method overloading. So let me talk about method overloading first, and next we will talk about method overriding. So method overriding. Sorry, method overloading is static polymorphism. Method overriding is dynamic polymorphism. So why it is called static polymorphism, we will look into this one. So method overloading. So the name itself says if a method, assume a person is doing a one work. So a person A, now he is doing work one, and the same person again A is doing two works. So same person A. Now if we assign three tasks, so we can say that he is a overloaded. So how you are saying he is overloaded? So if I'm giving A is got 10 tasks, so A is got 10 tasks. So how you can say that he is overloaded with the tasks only, right? The person is same, but the tasks. So tasks is nothing but number of parameters. So here he is doing one work, and here he is doing two works, and here he is doing three works, and here he is doing 10 works. So how you can say the person is same, but number of parameters. So means number of tasks he is doing. Depending on that, we can say that he is overloaded. So in the same way, method overloading means we have a same method name but different in parameters. So I am having m method m, which is taking one parameter here int x. So same method int m, which is taking int x comma int y, and so its return type is int, int, and access modifier is public. Public. We can say for timing we will take it as y. So and open brace and close brace. This is a method. So something we are doing the implementation in this method. So, and again same method. So which is taking int set parameter. So if you look into this, so assume this will happens in the so method overloading will happens in the single class. So assume I'm having public class text open brace and close brace. So this is my class, and which is containing three methods. So the method signatures are the method name is same, and its return type is same, and its access modifier is same. But depending on the parameters, so what is the difference in this is different in number of parameters. So what is the advantage of using this method overloading? So which will increase us the method visibility. So same method, instead of writing 10 methods for one logic, so write the one method, and depending on the inputs, it will gives the output. So single declare a method once and pass some parameters depending on your requirement. The same method is going to handle your incoming request. So in this way, method visibility will increase. So how to call this method? So same method with different in parameters. So how to call this method? So public class M test2 I am having public static by main, which contains the main method. So open this and closed brace. So how to access this class? So test t is equal.
You're gonna create an object and
Yeah.
then you're gonna call a method.
So now how to call this? So new test.
Yeah.
Now how to call this method? So
You t dot
t dot
and whatever the main method.
method m dot some, so which is taking an integer value, right? First method. So
Mhm. So
so, so
how do you know that you're gonna call that like particular method? Because
yeah, we are discussing. We are coming to that one only. So
okay,
I have created the object. So now this object will contain all my instance methods and instance variables. So and now how to call this method? So if I'm passing m dot two, so this method is going to call. And if I'm passing t of 2 comma 3, so this method is going to call. Same method. Method name is same, but depending on the parameters, it's going to call the particular method.
okay,
Okay. 2 comma 4. If you are passing this, so which method it is going to come? So this method. Why it is called as a static polymorphism? Because at the writing the program itself, you are saying which method we need to call. Explicitly, we are specifying by passing some parameters. So that's why it's a static polymorphism. It's not dynamic. At the compile time only, we are saying with these many parameters, please call this method. And after that, if you are passing two parameters, so this method is going to call. If you are passing three parameters, so this method is going to call. So that's why it's a static. It's not dynamic. So this is called static polymorphism or method overloading. So same method and with the different parameters. So we will able to identify the particular method. So, and this method overloading happens in single class. So this is a class, right? Test. It will happen in single class only.
okay. So what's the benefit of like method overloading?
See, I'm having some method. Instead of writing 10 methods for single functionality, write one method only. And depending on the parameters, it will cause a appropriate method.
Okay,
So add, so I want to create a one employee. So add employee is my method name
okay,
in my business line. So depending on your conditions, so if an employee can pass one parameter, if he is a single, assume int is sorry, his name he is going to pass. Same name, string name, assume. And if he is married, assume if you want to register, so he needs to pass is something else also. And if is so it may be going to take two parameters here, string x comma string y. And if he's having kids, depending on the parameters, so if he's having only one kid, so string z parameters is going to pass. So the functionality is same, the method is doing the same, registration creating an employee, but depending on the conditions, it will register his data. So if he's not married, so assume his name is only required. If he's married, so his name and his spouse name. Assume the business logic is like that. And if he's having a kids, then kids data also he needs to enter in some application. Assume this is scenario. So instead of writing three methods, write one method, only one method, and depending on the input parameters he is passing, so that business logic is going to execute. So here we are having some business logic.
all right. Ravi, one quick question. Like, so we wrote like three method, right? And we are passing different
No,
parameter.
no, it's a single method. it's one method only. Depending
Okay,
on the
one
parameters,
method
that
we're passing
is
like
good.
different parameters, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In short, can you give us like like a real life example, like where you would use it? Cause like I'm bit getting lost, like if you could give like a one real example, that will be good.
Yeah, that's only. Assume, see, you are adding some bank account. Assume.
Okay,
So,
bank account.
yeah, creating a bank account. So I may need to give my driving. So if you are having it, you may have three options. Start three or four. If you have a driving license, yeah, enter driving license. If you don't have driving license, register with PAN card and Aadhaar card. Like that,
Okay.
depending on some conditions. So I need
Okay.
to create the records. So depending on your inputs, so depending on the selection, so this particular method is going to call. If you are giving driving license and PAN card, so assume this method we need to call. If you are giving only other, this method is going to call. Like that, depending on business requirement, all these methods will do same things only. But the business logic is almost same. Registering the or creating an employee in the bank. But depending on your input parameters you provided, so the business logic will changes. So instead
Okay.
of calling different methods, call the same methods. But how to distinguish the method? So by using the parameters. So that's why the basic advantage of using method overloading is method visibility. Same method is going to use. Instead of declaring the n number of methods, declare only one method and its functionality will vary depending on your input parameters. And why it is called static? Because at the run compilation time only you will specify. So if you are passing, assume if you are passing only one parameter, means only one value you are providing. So assume you are providing Aadhaar card. So which method I need to call? So I need to specify at the compile time itself, so
Mhm.
that this method is going to call. That's why it's a static. Assume
Oh,
if you are
okay.
providing, if you don't have a Aadhaar card, so might be you are providing driving license and PAN card. So then which method we need to call? This method. So
Yeah.
depending on input parameters you provided, so that particular method is going to call. Same method with different parameters. So that's why this is called method overloading. And method overloading happens in same class,
Method overloading happens in same class. It cannot happen like different class.
different classes. Method overloading happens in different classes. That is
Method
superclass.
overriding.
Sorry, method overriding will happen. This will happens in a same class.
Same class. Okay.
Method overloading. Method overriding happens in superclass, different classes.
So that means like method overriding is like inheritance.
Yeah, superclass and subclass. So that we will discuss now. So
Okay.
if you are good with this, then we will discuss that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. I got it now. Thank you very much for the explanation.
yeah, so method overloading. Simply remember this. So if you are having a one person, A, if you are giving two tasks, he is good enough. If you are giving three tasks, so he may feel somewhat burdened or loaded. So if you are giving 10, so he's overloaded. So the method name, the person name is same, but number of parameters. Difference is number of parameters. So the method name, so person name is nothing but method name is same, but the tasks are number of parameters. So here the method name is same,
Resource again.
and this here also method name is same. But how you will distinguish this one with the number of parameters? So why it is a static polymorphism? Because at runtime, so we're talking about this one. So at the runtime only you need to specify the number of parameters. So means how you will specify these parameters depending on your business logic. So assume your method is returning, so your business logic is returning only one value. Then I need to implement this logic. If your method is writing two values, then I need to implement this logic. If it's returning three, then I need to implement this value. So that is the advantage of your method overloading. So which increases the method visibility. Same method we are using a number of times. So it will increase the method visibility and method overlay. So method overriding. So this is happens in different classes. So method overloading will happens in same class. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a class. So these are the methods. But method overriding will happens in different classes.
Different classes. Okay.
That is nothing but in between super and subclasses. So we see that one. So if superclass method overriding, so name itself says overriding. So assume your superclass is A. A is a superclass, assume, and class class B is a assume subclass. So how you will say that class A is superclass and class B is subclass? So you should have some relation. So extends A. Then B is a subclass and A is a superclass. So assume my class A M is having something M is so my class is having M method. So open brace and close brace, and it is of type public, and which is implementing something. I hello means system dot out dot println hello. Here I am giving
Okay.
system dot out dot println of hello. So here also I am having the same method as you. Here I am printing how are you. So if you look into this, so this is one
Yeah.
class A, and this is one class. So
Yep.
and it is extending class A. So that's why it is a subclass and it is a superclass. A is a superclass. Now my subclass and superclass is having same methods. So how to call this one now? How to call this M1 method?
Create
So
an object in
yeah,
another class.
I'm creating an object. So public class test. So which will contain main method.
Method. Yeah.
Public static void main arguments. So now for which class I need to create? So I for which class I need to create an object? Because for subclass. So
Yeah.
what is a subclass? So B is a subclass. So create an object for this B, then you will able to access all the methods of A and B. So B. Now B dot M1. Sorry, M method.
Mm-hmm.
If you are calling B dot M, so what will happen is, so instead of calling superclass method, so this is superclass method, right?
Yeah.
So instead of calling superclass method, your child class will call its own method. So the output will be
How are you?
how are you? For this, the output will be how are you? And what is happening here? So instead of calling the superclass method, the subclass is calling its own method and it's overriding the superclass method implementation. So this is called method overriding. So your subclass M1 method is overriding your superclass M1 method, and this is dynamic. So if you look into this, this is dynamic format because Here, see, we are saying which method we need to call.
Hello.
Yeah,
So how you gonna do? How you gonna call that hello? Are we
yeah,
gonna?
that we will call. We will discuss later by using a super keyword. We can do that, but we will discuss now till here only. If you
Okay.
are discussing more than one topic at a time, you will get confused. So
Yeah, yeah.
that is there.
How about that? I mean, like, it's very interesting. No?
Yeah, we can restrict the method overloading. Uh, Sorry, method overriding, not overriding. Overloading. Method overriding we can restrict by using final keyword. If you are keeping final keyword before this method, then this method can't be overridden. So those things we'll discuss when you are discussing about these super keywords and the constructors and all those things final. So once everything is completed, so once this is completed, then we will go for those things.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So, so here, uh, here this is called static dynamic polymorphism because here we are calling which method we need to call. Yum method we need to call. We are saying that, but we are not specifying which class method we need to call. So at compile time, what will happen? The code will be compiled, but at runtime only your JVM is going to decide which method we need to call. That's why it's a dynamic file manager. But if you are looking into method overloading, see at the compilation time only, we are specifying, please call this method. So this is a method with two parameters, right? So that's why this is static file manager. It's not dynamic. Whatever you are saying at the compile time only, that only going to happen. Call this method. So it will check whether that method is there. Yeah, we are having a method add employee with one parameters, two parameters, and three parameters. So which method it needs to call? So with the two parameters, so this is a method it's matching, right? So instead of this, let me change to this one. So which method? So this is a method. So it contains three methods. So which method it needs to execute? We are specifying at the code compilation time only. Manually we are specifying. So it will cast this method. That's why it says static. But here, if you look into method overriding, so do you are specifying which method to call? See here we are having two methods with the same name, yum and yum. Class A is containing method yum and class B is containing method yum. And here we are creating the object for B and B dot yum. So two classes, subclass and superclass, both are containing same methods. Here we are saying call yum, that's it. Which method we need to call? So it's dynamic. So at the runtime, your JVM will decide which method you need to call. So that's why it's a dynamic polymorphism. And here your subclass is overriding the superclass method implementations. So that is called it's a method overriding.
One question. So like JVM compiles your code, right? Or like Ambit
Java compiler, Java C will compile
Java.
source code.
Isn't that JVM or it's different?
It's a Java compiler. So we discussed, if you remember, it's a Java compiler. Whenever, so see, I have written a one file, right? Assume this is my code.
Yeah.
So
Can you just like can you give like brief like
yeah,
summary of that Java compiler and JVM, or like what's the difference between those two?
yeah,
Sorry about that. I mean,
yeah, sure, sure. No, sure. So if you go to the program files, if you install Java,
yeah.
so here we are having JDK and JRE. We have
Yep.
already discussed. So JDK means it's a Java development kit.
Yeah.
Java development kit, which will internally contains,
JVM and JRE.
yeah, JVM and JRE.
Yep.
Yes.
JVM works like JVM does like it converts your source codes into machine language.
No, we are coming. So let me look into this. So it will contain some libraries.
Yeah.
Libraries. So JVM we can't see.
Now.
It's a Java virtual machine. Whenever you
Yeah.
installing the Java, that time only it's going to install. So
Yeah.
JVM you can't see. So if you go to this Java development kit,
Yeah.
so this is my Java, right? If you go to JDK, so you will able to see JRE and libraries.
Libraries. Yep.
So if you, these are the supporting libraries. And bin, if you go to bin, so here you will have a Java compiler.
Okay.
So what will happen? This is a nothing but it's one type of English only, right? So
Yes.
user can understand, means a programmer can understand, but your JVM can't understand this English.
Okay.
So it will be able to understand only mission level, mission language only. So
Okay.
how to convert this into your JVM understandable language? So for that you need. So why do you require JDK? So if you look into this, JDK is Java Development Kit. If you want to write some program and if you want to compare, means compilation means to convert your source code. This is called source code
Mm-hmm.
to JVM understandable code. So what your JVM will understand? It will understand bytecode only.
Bytecode. Okay.
So how to generate this bytecode? So by using Java compiler. So Java C test.java. So you are compiling. So if you don't have any, so if it's your program is having some compilation issues, so this will give the all those compilation issues.
Okay. Who runs the code? JVM or JRE?
Your JVM will run the code.
Okay. Okay. JVM. So all right. Let's put it this way. So JDK contains JRE and library. Okay. And we cannot see JVM. JVM is a virtual machine. Okay.
Yeah,
That only understands bytecode. So in
bytecode.
order for us to convert the like
Source
English
code
language,
is
we
yeah,
have to
source code.
use
Yeah, we
Java.
can stack it as source code to convert the source code into mission understandable, JVM understandable code. So you need to use
Have
the
Java.
Java compiler. So Java C is a Java compiler which will convert your source code into bytecode. So now
Okay.
we need to run the program. So
Yeah.
Java, so test dot, here we are not giving anything, test, same name, test it. If you enter, so what it will happen, so when you do this, so it will generate dot class file, dot class file, which will contain bytecode,
Bytecode.
which
Yep.
is not understandable to the developer. So
Yes.
now I need to run this program. So Java test it means it's internally appends that class. No need to append. So it will automatically append. So if you are entering, so what will happen? Your JVM will tries to load this class.
Okay.
So this is a name, right? So it will check in your current working directory whether this test class is there. If you don't have this test class, your JVM will throw that file not found. So file not found exception. It will gives that one. So it will able to read only dart class files. Your JVM is only able to load the file into memory with if there is a dart class file. So whenever you are saying this Java test, so it will check for dart class file internally. And if your current working directory contains this dart class file, so it will loads that dart class file into memory and it will gives the allocate the memory. So it will have stack area, heap area, and method area. So it will allocate the memory and it will execute your program. Once your program is executed, and if you are not using your program for a long time, so you need to freeze the memory, right? So garbage collector will be there, which will runs internally in your JVM and it will freeze the memory.
So, so JVM will run the code, and what would be like the job of JRE?
It's a Java virtual machine, which will
Oh,
provide an
JRE.
sorry Java runtime environment,
Yeah.
which will provide an environment to run your application.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay, so you set up the environment variables and all those stuff, JRE.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
got it. Yep. Thank you very much, Ravi.
Yeah. Uh, so this is about this, and can you look into this example? If you don't have any questions, then we'll discuss about yesterday's few examples and this one also.
Yeah.
So Java does not support. See here itself, it won't support our last examples. So Java does not support multiple inheritance. So it will support single inheritance only. If I am giving a, yeah, you don't find any compilation issues.
5G
One,
class.
one more thing is missing. Yeah. Here you won't find any compilation issues.
Yeah. So multiple inheritance is not supported by Java
Yeah,
because
with respect to classes, but it will uh, support with respect to interfaces. So, new package. So this is my package name. So you remember, right, coding standards. So your package should name should contains all small letter. So if it contains more than one word, so please separate that words by using that. And your
Mhm.
class name should starts with capital letter only. So if it contains two letters, static polymorphism. So S should be capped and P should be caps. And you should not supposed to use keywords as a class name. So that's why I have given one. So package package name is not valid starting. Okay, so it's not allowing. So static is the keyword, right? That's why it's not allowing. So
Yeah.
polymorphism. So polymorphism folder. So I am using the polymorphism. Here I am adding static and dynamic polymorphism. So now we are discussing about static polymorphism. So static polymorphism is nothing but it's a method overloading. So public, so white, yeah, yeah. So before that, we will discuss about the constructor. So when your constructor is going to execute, let's see. So how your constructor will class. So it should be the constructor name should be same as your class name. Open brace and close brace. And its access modifier is uh, system not system constructor. So your constructor name should be same as your class name, and your constructor won't have any return type. So let's create one more class which contains main method. Test. So this is my main class, and this is my test class which contains main method. create object for this. Now let's run. So this is nothing but the constructor, new constructor. So do I am calling any constructor explicitly? No. So let's run. So see, inside a constructor.
Yeah.
So whenever you create object, so if I'm creating 10 objects, your constructor is going to come. So
Okay.
this, yeah. Now same class I have created an object. The object should be should differ because how your Java will identify the objects. So can I use the object name as same? So assume here I am using X. Object name is instead of class. Here can I use the X? No, you will get a compilation issues because how your Java will able to identify the objects or variables, all those things, because it will use as a internally uses a hash code. So whenever you are creating something, you are creating a this is a reference, right? So which will stores all your class related instance methods and instance variable. This is a reference variable to your class or reference object. So if you are using same reference object for next object also, here also I am creating one more object. So if I'm using the same reference object, so we get a compilation error. Why? Because when your Java will, whenever you are creating a one reference variable or a object or a class, so how it will identify? So your Java internally creates a hash code for that particular object. So again you are using the same object here, then the hash code for these two objects is same, right? So that's why it still gives a compilation error. If I'm using x1, so the hash code of x and x1 is different, that's why you are not getting any compilation. So now what I have done is I have created two objects for my class. So two times I am calling the constructor. So if I run this
You're gonna get the result two times.
two times, you should get the result two times. So see, here it's executed two times. So when your constructor is going to call, so at the time of creating the object, so this is nothing but a constructor. See, this is nothing but constructor. So what is the use of constructor? So which will construct your class at compile time itself.
What was the answer?
So which will construct your class. The name itself says constructor. So if you are having instance methods, instance variables, all those things are there, right? So at the time of creating the object itself, it's going to load. And at the time of runtime, it's going to allocate the memory.
Okay. Can you go like in details, like create an instance variable and try to show me the example that please?
So here I have just created two variables. I am not assigning any value. So now I want to access those variables. So how can
Mm-hmm.
I access
X dot.
x dot? So if you look in this x dot, so it will contain all the variables.
Yep.
So now I want to print. So system dot out dot.
But it's gonna come now. There is no value assigned.
Yeah, we will discuss.
Okay.
Control X. This is float value. First one is this one is another one is integer I. So if I run this, so for float it's 0.0, and for integer, so what is the default value? 0. So who is assigning this value? Your constructor is going to initialize your variables, and all your instance variables and instance methods are going to initialize by your constructor only. Initialization means it will allocate some memory, and if integer, here do I am adding any value? No.
Nope.
So the default value is 0. It's a
Yeah.
float, the default value is 0.0. It's equal to 0 only, but it's a 8 byte, right? So it has to distinguish. If you are declaring an integer, so how many bytes of memory it's going to activate? 4 bytes.
Four.
If it's a float, so 8 bytes. So bytes of memory is going. So 4 bytes is for integer part and 4 bytes for float part. So that's why 0 0.0, and it satisfies only 4 bytes. So that's why it's 0. So that responsibility of your constructor is at the time of runtime. So you compare. So runtime means this one, Java test. So at the time of runtime only, your Java code is going to load into your JVM. So JVM will allocate memory. When it will allocate the memory? Whenever it encounters a new keyword. So new keyword, what you are calling with the new keyword? So we are calling the class constructor. This only we are calling it. So
Mhm.
all those instance variables and instance methods are going to allocate memory. So how the memory is going to load? Your JVM will load the construct whenever you are calling new keyword at runtime, not compiler. At runtime. So at this time, so your JVM will loads all your means class into your memory, and it will identify. So it will find. So it is having I. So it's of type integer. So it will allocate 4 bytes of memory to this variable. It's a float. So it will allocate 8 bytes of memory. And your class may contain some methods also, different methods. So what it will use is, in your JVM will have a method area. So it will source all your methods, instance methods, which are binded with your constructor. So those methods. So here I'm having these methods. These methods are going to allocate memory in method area. In your JVM, you will have heap area, stack area, method area. So all these variables will be stored it in heap area, and your methods will be stored in method area. So like that, your JVM will allocate the memory. And assume if I'm not having any constructor, this is called zero argument constructor.
So constructor only going to allocate memory for instance method, instant variable.
No, it won't allocate. Your JVM will allocate. See,
Yeah.
but at the time of creating the object, so what it will happens is it will construct your class. So whenever when your memory is going to allocate, so I have compiled the code. So Java C test, your code is compiled. So runtime. So Java test. So what will happen? So that time your JVM, whenever you are calling Java class name dot class. So what will happen whenever you are calling this command Java? So your JVM is going to call, and it will tries to look for this class dot class file. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a class, right? So it will looks for this class, and it will loads that class. So when it will able to, so whenever it loads the class, so it has to execute the code, right? So it will execute the code line by line. So it will
Yeah.
check for main method. So once it finds a main method, so it will tries to execute this line of code. So whenever it encounters a new keyword, your JVM will encounters a new keyword with the constructor name. So constructor name is class name.
So basically, constructor helps JVM to
To
allocate.
allocate construct the class. So to that's only whatever you said. So that's only whenever you encounters new keyword. So with the class name, so it will goes to the class. So This is my class. It goes to the class and it will checks how many instance variables are there and how many instance methods are there. So
Okay.
according to that, your JVM will allocate the memory. So this method is containing int a is equal to 20 and
Is it same
the
for the static variable or no? Just like instance.
static variables are related to class, not with instance. So they are not related to your constructor.
Okay. Okay. That yeah. That's the question. Okay. Good.
So D, it is able to find D. So assume we don't assign any value, assume. So what will happen is your JVM will allocate 4 bytes of memory for this. And for this D, it will allocate 8 bytes of memory. And now I am having some instance method, M1. Assume it's an instance method. So it's an instance method, right? So at the time of creating the instance only, it is going to load. So it also contains in your constructor. So what it will do is it will allocate the memory in method area. Method area, if my class is containing, assume 3 methods, M1, M2, assume 2 methods it's containing. So all these methods are going to store in my method area. So here it will go into store. Like that, the memory allocation will be there. So once your program is executed and if the object is not going to use by long time, means according to the algorithm, so your JVM will call the average collector on this object. This is only object, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this object is used in now. Whenever you are executing this, so your JVM is executes this object and it will perform some operation. So after some time, now I am not using that object. So at the same time, someone is executing that. So what it will do is to it needs to freeze the memory, right? Because some memory is occupied by my class. So for integer, this much memory, for double and for methods, all those things, it's allocated some memory. And if I'm using static variables and static, so int I is equal same int a is equal to some, so int b is equal to 30 if I'm using. So how to make it as a static? So use static keyword.
Yeah.
Static, yes, T-A-T-I-C, static keyword. And how to make a method as static? So assume I am having M3. So same, use static. So at the so if your class containing static also, so what it will use is it will load all the static methods also where it will store. So you will have a static block will be there. So in that it will store all the static variables and static methods. So your so these static methods and static variables are not related to class object. It related to class level.
Yes.
So these variables and methods won't come into constructor.
Constructor. Okay.
So your class may contains static methods and
Yeah.
non-static methods, static variables and non-static variables. So whenever you load the class, so all your non-static methods and non-static variables are binded with your constructor, and
Mm.
your static and static variables and static methods are bind with your class name. So this is your class name, right? So class name. So according to that, your JVM is going to allocate the memory. So when the memory is allocated to your static and non-static methods, so before, so for static and non-static methods, at the time of loading the class itself, whenever you encounter this statement, java.test, that time only memory is going to allocate for your static variables and static methods. But for non-static variables and non-static methods, so whenever it encounters new keyword, that
Yeah.
only your memory is going to allocate. So same scenario. So whenever you are running the program, you compare. So how to run? Java C file name. This is file name is nothing but class name. So that time only your all static and variables and static methods are going to allocate the memory.
So.
So
So
we'll come to this.
I mean, like just to refresh, like for the static variable, right? You didn't it automatic like it has the more priority than instance variable, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And like when you like create a constructor static variable, we like JVM will allocate memory for that.
Static variables are not
Or
related to construct.
non-static one.
Yeah, non-static. So if your class is containing static variables, so at the time of loading the class itself, it will allocate the memory. So, but non-static variables, when it's going to allocate the memory, whenever it encounters new keyword, then only for non-static methods and non-static variables, it's going to allocate the memory. So this is the difference. So we'll look into this remaining things later. For this next 1 week, I'm going to take around only 1 hour session. So yesterday we don't have a class, right? So tomorrow also I'm scheduling the class. If you are free, then we will.
No,
Uh,
tomorrow I'm traveling, so let's sit back on Monday again, okay?
yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, okay, same time.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay.
And next week onwards, not means next week onwards, I will take around 1.5 hour.
Yeah, that will be good because I have like you see like I have bit like questions, so it takes time, and I'm really sorry and thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, if whatever the questions you have now, please ask me so that we can discuss more about that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
thank you.
really have a good day. Okay.
Yeah, you too.